Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are taking a fascinating look into the anatomy of a truly high-stakes legal drama. We're going to break down the mechanics of a fiercely contentious divorce between two incredibly wealthy individuals, Carla Duval and Morgan Henderson. Let's dive right in, because what starts out as a seemingly standard, mature separation rapidly transforms into an absolute masterclass in legal warfare, psychological pressure, and ruthless financial strategy. By analyzing the statements and tactics of the key players, we're going to dissect exactly how a private relationship dissolves into a highly publicized, no-holds-barred battlefield.
Just look at the sheer contrast in how this all unfolds. On one hand, we have Carla Duval's opening posture. She says, "I think we're both very reasonable people." It's polite, right? It's measured, and it projects this image of absolute civility. But then, the mask slips entirely. Her ultimate ruthless intention comes out. Let's take him for every penny he's got. This right here is the entire trajectory of our explainer today. We're going to track exactly how a couple gets from that civilized facade to absolute financial bloodlust.
Section 1. The Facade of Civility. Early on, we have Morgan Henderson responding to Carla's claim of being reasonable. He says, "I would second that. It seems we've grown apart." Notice the neutral, almost passive language here, grown apart. It totally frames the divorce as this natural, blameless phenomenon. At this early stage, both parties are desperately attempting to project a fragile mutual facade. They're establishing a baseline of agreement, basically trying to convince themselves and the world that this is going to be an amicable, mature separation. But, as we're about to see, that commitment to maturity is incredibly thin.
Section 2. A vicious public battle.
The rapid devolution of Carla and Morgan's relationship happens in a few very predictable steps. We just saw step 1, the mutual, polite agreement to part ways. But that bubble bursts almost instantly, leading us straight into step 2, the public media circus. The privacy of their marriage just vanishes, entirely replaced by public scrutiny. And once the battle goes public, it inevitably triggers step 3, the deployment of dirty legal tactics. This progression is absolutely key to understanding high-net-worth divorces. The escalation isn't an accident. It's a direct result of the conflict entering the public arena, where reputations are suddenly weaponized. The outside world rapidly accelerates the collapse of their civility. As it's pointed out, we're in the papers every day. There's stuff online. Think about it. It is practically impossible to maintain that initial "we are reasonable people" posture when your dirty laundry is being aired daily in the press and dissected by strangers on the internet. This relentless daily media presence and online scrutiny acts like an accelerant. It fuels the conflict, strips away any remaining goodwill, and forces both Carla and Morgan into a highly defensive, hyper-reactive state. And this brings us to the severe psychological toll of this kind of public battle. Morgan states, "I have no idea who I've been married to. You make it sound like I'm the villain." This is a massive turning point. The public nature of the fight, combined with the behind-the-scenes legal maneuvering, creates intense paranoia. Spouses who once shared a life together suddenly view one another as complete strangers, and worse, as enemies. The narrative is no longer "we've grown apart," it's morphed into a story of heroes and villains. And obviously, neither party wants to be cast as the bad guy in the public eye. This is exactly where the external voices step in to manipulate the narrative. Consider this phrase: "Let us not forget, you are the wronged party here." This is a very deliberate tactic used by advisors and legal teams. By actively encouraging a client to adopt a victim mentality, they're providing the psychological justification needed to authorize really aggressive actions later on. If you truly believe you are the absolute wronged party, then any retaliation you take just feels like justice. It's a brilliant, albeit pretty dark, psychological setup for the war to come. Section 3. Malicious legal tactics. The escalation of legal warfare here is shockingly explicit. We are introduced to Beatrice's Ubosi's aggressively unapologetic strategy. Initially, there's a threat of, we can play dirty if we have to, but Beatrice takes it a massive step further. She boldly declares, "If they play dirty, we will be total and utter filth. Let battle commence." This isn't just a defense mechanism anymore. This is a deliberate and malicious choice to escalate. The legal team is actively choosing to dive straight into the muck, turning the divorce into a scorched earth campaign. And the pressure of this strategy is totally all-consuming. Listen to St. John Smallwood's stark warning. "You can't divorce your divorce, Morgan. That's not happening."
Because once you authorize these malicious tactics, once you let the battle commence with total and utter filth, you are trapped in it. The legal machine just takes over. This highlights the inescapable reality of such aggressive representation. The clients might have started the process, but eventually, the process owns the clients.
So, just how big is this machine? Well, the stakes here are absolutely massive. Legal advisors are confidently predicting that this will become the largest matrimonial trial in British legal history. We aren't just talking about splitting up a house and a few bank accounts. We're talking about an unprecedented scale of wealth, relentless public scrutiny, and a level of legal warfare that literally sets historical records. That sheer scale completely changes the gravity of what Carla and Morgan are entrenched in. Section 4. The ruthless fight for money. Let's break down the core elements actually driving this entire conflict. We know it's slated to be the biggest trial in British history. We know there are no lengths to which people won't go. But why? It all boils down to one ultimate goal: getting a slice of the wealth. All the public media circuses, all the posturing about being the wronged party, all the threats to become utter filth, it's all just a smokescreen. Sheer greed dictates the terrifying lengths these characters will go to. The destruction of reputation is really just a tool. Wealth extraction is the actual objective. This quote cements that reality perfectly. There are no lengths to which people won't go if they think they can get a slice. It completely strips away the emotional facade we discussed at the very beginning of this explainer. Beneath the complex legal maneuvering and the carefully crafted media spin, the entire engine of this divorce is fueled by a ruthless, unyielding desire to secure a portion of massive assets. It's nothing more than a transactional war disguised as an emotional dispute. Which brings our narrative beautifully full circle, right back to Carla Duval. The woman who opened by insisting, "I think we're both very reasonable people," has undergone a complete transformation into a ruthless combatant. Let's take him for every penny he's got, and he's got quite a few. The mask is completely gone. The civility is dead. This perfectly illustrates how the combination of vast wealth, public scrutiny, and aggressive legal advising completely erodes a person's initial intentions, leaving only a fighter fixated solely on financial gain. So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a critical thought. We've seen the escalation, the media circus, the deployment of total and utter filth in the courtroom, and the ultimate naked grab for wealth. But when a divorce transitions from a mutual parting of ways into a ruthless, high-stakes war for every single penny, who really wins? Is it the spouses, whose lives and reputations are dragged through the mud? Or is it the legal machine that thrives on the bottle? It's certainly something to think about. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep asking the big question.